Hey guys, this is Grant from findyouratl.com with eXp Realty in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is Renfield. And the reason I am showing him to you is he will not let me get through this video without barking. So if you hear him barking later on, you can put a face to the name. All right, so he's actually my only employee. He's my personal assistant. So if you hear him later on, this is the guy that's causing us trouble. And today we are talking about how we buy and sell real estate inside the perimeter of Atlanta is changing. Namely, we are looking at the fact that we decided to build a giant sidewalk that runs through the city, and it is changing everything about how we think about where we want to live. Why is that? Listen up. So the history of Atlanta dates back to when we were a major railway switching station. The people in charge of getting trains from point A to point B looked at how things were laid out and said, you know, it's a pretty long haul between Savannah and Chattanooga, so we should probably plop something in the middle. As a result, Terminus, aka Atlanta, was born. If it weren't for trains, the city as it looks today would not exist, including how the highways run, bisecting and encircling the city. You see, back in the 1800s, a city like Atlanta that does not have fresh water access was likely not going to be successful. So trains were the lifeblood of our city. Now, given back then we actually did have a lot more water running through Atlanta, and that's why we call roads ferries, but that's a totally different video for a totally different subject. Now, you see, the thing with trains is they're meant to go long distances. So from the minute Atlanta was founded, we were basically an experiment in suburban sprawl, starting with Inman Park being Atlanta's very first established suburb, now extending all the way up to Hackworth, which feels like you might need a passport in order to get there if you live inside the city. As a result of this, you see, Atlanta, we're more of a driving city, and any Atlanta will tell you that everything is usually within about 20-25 minute drive, but we're not very friendly towards bikers or walkers. As a result, this led to neighborhoods being very segmented along socioeconomic lines, and we know that that's a bad thing. And then we began to process this, and we had a guy who came up with an idea. You see, there was a Georgia Tech student, and he thought to himself, hey, you know all these train tracks that we have that we no longer use anymore? What if we actually put them to good use? They connect the city in a way that we don't utilize anymore, so what if we use these decommissioned train lines to connect the city again? And the idea for the Beltline was born. The path line the Beltline follows actually makes it faster to commute between in-town neighborhoods than using public transportation or even driving in a car normally would. This allows people to move more freely throughout the city for things like work or entertainment. While it started as more of an experiment, when construction of the first portion of the Beltline ended, it completely revitalized Old Fourth Ward and Inman Park and turned them into two of the hottest and most desirable areas in town. As a result, it also made them much more expensive. You see, it turns out when you make neighborhoods more accessible, businesses move in. And when businesses move into neighborhoods that are easy to get to, people tend to go to these businesses. And these people going to businesses tend to spend money, and then they also want to live where they're spending money, so then you build condos and then they live there. And it's basically a giant snowball effect of making an area better, and you end up with essentially Disney World, but with condos. While a large portion of the Beltline goes through already well-connected parts of the city, there is this giant uncharted territory as the Beltline begins to expand further to the west and further south. Neighborhoods like Peoplestown, historic South Atlanta, the West End, and Bankhead, just to name a few, are all slated to have either Beltline access or be super close to Beltline access. If we use Old Fourth Ward as a case study on what's going to happen to real estate value there, we're going to see giant jumps in these areas because the Beltline is going to help revitalize some of these areas and make them more desirable. I mean, if we really get into the numbers, we're talking about a potential of property values tripling once the Beltline is built. Now, this is changing everything about where people are looking to buy in Atlanta. While places like Midtown or Buckhead certainly provide you with a good deal of stability, we know where those markets are going, where they've been, and they tend to be very consistent and steady. These other areas provide fantastic opportunities for have and hold buyers that are willing to go through the revitalization process, or for investors that want to go ahead and quickly flip a property and get some money out of it in a couple of years. As an example, I actually have a friend who bought in historic South Atlanta about 3 years ago, and her equity has already jumped up considerably. And coming up, the Beltline is going to be all of 1 mile from her. So there are a ton of different businesses moving in that she never would have seen before. The other thing the Beltline is doing is it is helping Atlanta fight back against the suburban flight that cities often have. You see, these areas, they're more affordable and you end up having a easier time buying there, and they are going to provide you with all the same excellent benefits of living in town. So when you start checking out listings online, you're getting those emails and you're looking at things like City View, MARTA Access, make sure to look into those comments, and you're going to start wanting to look for near proposed Beltline expansion. It's going to be popping up all over listings that you see in the city. If you want more information on all of the areas that the Beltline is going to be expanding to, go ahead and drop a comment below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Grant with FindYourATL.com and eXp Realty in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'll see you soon.